Hey guys, we're here with Karen Graham, our registered dietitian in the Metabolic Wellness Program. We're excited to have her with us today. She's a super busy girl and she's meeting with everybody in the Metabolic Program. About a week or two into you starting the program, you'll have a chance to sit down with Karen for about 90 minutes and talk about your diet program. Karen's going to help you to realize a lot of things, what you should and shouldn't do, simple things that we can tweak to really help you to get rid of that extra fat and to get you losing some good weight. So what I want to do is just ask Karen a couple questions here. She's going to answer them for us. You guys just take a special note that if you are watching this blog, a lot of things that we're going to talk about today are right here on the side or above. Just take a look. You're going to look for the sign that says shopping list and you can print that right off from our blog. What is some just really basic advice that you can give them as they're preparing to come and meet with you?
Okay. Well, the first thing that I see is when most people come to me with their food logs is that they're lacking protein. Most people's diet is very heavy on the carbs, which ends up causing a lot of problems and a spiral downward almost, because that affects them day to day, not only in their fat loss, but how they concentrate, their ability to focus, their energy levels. Yeah. When the diet is very high in carbs, it causes these crashes during the day. So,
okay, so too low in protein.
Exactly.
And too high in carbohydrates.
Exactly.
Now, do we cut out carbs completely?
No. A lot of people are under the impression that carbs are evil, and they're not. They have a definite purpose. Okay? Energy is a big one. Carbs provide energy to the body. So you want to make sure you balance carbs. I always recommend never having a carbohydrate by itself. So if you're eating a carbohydrate, you put a protein with it. Okay. And at the beginning, it's really just a one-for-one balancing. So you look at everything that you're eating on your plate and drinking. A lot of people forget about carbs that are drinks, like fruit juices, sports drinks, milk, things like that. So say you have 3 or 4 carbs on your plate. Each carb has to have a protein to balance it out, one for one.
Okay, now what about vegetables? Are they a carbohydrate? Can I count those as carbs?
Good question. The only vegetables that are carbs are the starchy ones. Okay. So potatoes, whether they're sweet potatoes, white, red, it doesn't matter. Potatoes have to have a protein with it. Peas, green peas, and winter squash. So winter squash meaning butternut, acorn, pumpkin, not summer squashes. So not zucchini or that yellow squash. Those do not have to have a protein with them. It's just the starchy ones.
Okay, so did you catch that, you guys? All vegetables are good except for those starchy winter squashes, the potatoes, and the peas, you said, right?
Green peas, right.
Okay, so everything else is counted as a carbohydrate. So I can't just go have some chips and salsa. I need to have something with it, is that right?
Right, yeah. Chips and salsa is a hard one because I don't know a protein that actually goes good with that. Okay. So it's hard, but sometimes you might end up eating some strange things together, but the important part is making sure there's always that protein there. Because if you don't have the protein, what's going to happen is that blood sugar is going to spike. Okay? All carbs cause the blood sugar to spike. Okay? And then when that happens, the pancreas releases insulin. And the insulin's job is actually to get the blood sugar out of the blood and move it into the cells where it belongs.
Wow, that's important to remember, especially for a diabetic, right?
Yes, yes. Okay. So that's how your body maintains a natural blood sugar. But the problem is that insulin, every time it's being produced, it creates fat storage in the gut. It's a hormone that develops fat in the midsection of the body. So you want to control that by putting the protein with it, and it won't spike that insulin.
Okay, so it's also going to help to reduce belly fat.
Belly fat is a big one, right?
Does anybody out there have a problem with that? Okay, so that's important to remember. So always combining that protein with a carbohydrate. Right. So what I get a lot is, how about peanuts? Are those a protein?
You know, nuts and seeds are a very good source of protein. The only two that I recommend people to stay away from are peanuts and cashews.
Okay, why's cashews?
Cashews are the only nut that's really high in carbohydrates, so the protein's not there like other nuts.
That's why they taste so good, right?
Right, that's everyone's favorite nut.
Okay, and then peanuts, what's wrong with that?
Peanuts are the only nut that's higher in saturated fat, the fat that causes high cholesterol and heart disease and things like that. All the other nuts have that really good, healthy monounsaturated fat that when you're trying to lose weight is important to have. Okay,
so did you hear that, guys? No peanuts, no cashews. All right, so protein sources. I mean, you guys can check out the shopping list. Again, like I said, it's either above or to the side of this video here. So click on that. We have some good nut sources and other protein sources. Now, one that I get a lot too is the yogurt. I know a lot of people out there are just downing yogurt because there's so many commercials about it, how healthy, it makes it slim, it loses belly fat, etc. So what yogurt out there can I get?
Right. A lot of people think that yogurt in general is a protein source, but when you look at the label, you turn it over and you look at the carbs compared to the protein, the carbs are 25 to 35 grams and the protein is about 2 or 3 grams. So it'll spike that insulin and that blood sugar, but there's an alternative, is Greek-style yogurt. Greek-style yogurt has way more protein than carbs. So it's about 17 grams of protein and 3 or 4 grams of carbs. So it's a better alternative.
Nice. Okay. And so we just got to make sure we check the back.
Always check the label, and that's how you identify. If you're trying to figure out, is this food I'm eating a carb or is it a protein? Well, you know, what do I do here? Is you look at the back and you look at the grams, and whatever has the highest number, that's what it is.
Okay, simple enough. Okay, I have a couple more questions before we wrap this vlog up, Karen, and that is, how often throughout the day do I need to eat to ensure that my metabolism's boosted and I'm burning fat?
That's a good question. You want to eat every 3 hours, and for some people that sounds like a lot. But if someone suffers from a sweet tooth or they have these cravings for carbohydrates or sweets, going past that 3-hour mark is usually the cause of that. Because what happens is if you go 3 hours, your blood sugar crashes, it takes a dive, sending a signal to your brain to eat something sweet because they need that blood sugar to come back up. So eating every 3 hours prevents that crash, and that's what you really want. It keeps everything where it should be.
Okay, and that's why we get so cranky. When it's been 5, 6, 7 hours. Okay.
Exactly.
It makes sense. And I felt it a big time in my own life. If I go more than 3 hours, I feel my blood sugar dropping, and I just think that I'm a cranky guy. But it's my hormones taking control of my body.
Right, and you can feel when your blood sugar is dropping because you start to shake a little bit, you get a little cranky, ability to focus is not clear. So you can see some people, actually it happens every 2 hours. So you want to be able to identify when your blood sugar drops and see what is a time for you. Generally, it's 3 hours for most people.
Okay, last question I think. I might have one more, but first thing in the morning, I wake up, I'm not hungry. I feel like, I need a good 3 to 4 hours before I put anything in my body. I'm just not hungry in the morning. I get that a lot.
Okay.
And so help me get through that.
Yeah, that is the easiest way to gain weight is by skipping breakfast, okay? They call it breakfast for a reason, because when you're sleeping at night, 6, 7, 8 hours, you're basically fasting, right? That's why they call it breakfast, breaking the fast, okay? It's very, very important that you wake up, and if you're not hungry in the morning, the reason is because your metabolism is probably running really slow. It's probably very sluggish. So eat something, it doesn't have to be a lot, it doesn't even have to be breakfast food, but eat something, and then every 3 hours from there. And I guarantee after about 2 weeks of doing that, you'll start waking up hungry, and that's a good sign because that means your metabolism is stepping it up.
So just give me a couple of quick suggestions, whether they're breakfast food or not. What can I start doing if I haven't had breakfast for my whole life, maybe 20 years? I'm looking to start implementing breakfast. What do I start with?
Well, yeah, the problem is most breakfast foods are carbohydrates, right? We have milk and cereal, we have bagels and toast and pancakes and waffles. So that's not really what you want to do. You want to look for protein sources. Eggs are great, they're fast and easy, especially if you hard boil them ahead of time. You could do a piece of string cheese. When you look on the back of a label on string cheese, the protein's higher than the fat, so it's a protein. Greek yogurt is simple and fast. You could do a protein shake.
That's what I do. I do the protein shake because I'm in a hurry.
Yes.
I just need to shake it up and get out the door.
Yeah, and they're very fast. So.
Well, that's good. Is there anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up this vlog?
Well, no, I just look forward to meeting all of you, a one-on-one consultation, and get things going for you.
So Karen, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And you guys, we'll talk with you next time. Thanks.